There we go, we're talking. Today we are driving in my 2014 Acura TL SH all-wheel drive. The sun dipped away, so the glasses are coming off. Yes, we're driving in my Acura TL. I purchased this vehicle probably nearing 2 years ago, and it has been an absolute banger. We're gonna do a quick little zoom. That is by far my favorite thing about this car is when it gets the zoomies, It is fun. So this car comes stock from Honda with a J37 engine. I think this is the J37A3 or A4. I think the A4 was shared with the MDX platform, but the version used in the MDX had a spacer in the intake manifold to give it a little more low-end torque, but you can also purchase those spacers to add to your Acura TL as well to give it a little more low-end torque, which I have gone ahead and done. Also purchased a throttle body spacer, which also adds to some of the low end. It's not huge. We're talking maybe with both of them 5, 6, 7 horsepower and a little bit more torque. It's not huge by any means, but it helps. Everything helps. The roads today are not the best. It is 32 degrees, which is freezing for those that aren't from America. So I'm driving with a little bit of caution, but these cars are all-wheel drive. And honestly, in the snow and the slick, these cars just hook up. If you put on a good set of all seasons, or even better if you have winter tires, these things are unstoppable. Subaru owners can talk about, oh, my Subaru can do anything, go anywhere. These can truly go anywhere and do anything and beat most Subarus. Maybe not from a dig, but you get us past 60 miles an hour, we keep going. You're losing steam. This car's been amazing. Like I said, I've had it for roughly 2 years. Purchased it near Seattle, Washington. I got it in Auburn, Washington from a dealership over there. I think Worldwide Auto Group or something they're called. Super cheesy name, but they were pretty good. They were kind of odd about getting the title to me because they hadn't yet received it from the people who sold the car to them. So that was super sketchy. At first I thought for sure I've been scammed. Someone's gonna come repossess this vehicle and say that I never actually owned it, and I'm gonna be out $21,000, which is about what I paid with title and licensing and all that crap. Although the value of this vehicle has since dropped, I got this during COVID times, so I definitely paid more than I needed to. While the value has probably halved in the 2 years I've had it, the value to me that this car has brought has been immense. This is my first time having an all-wheel drive vehicle, and this 3.7 V6 all-wheel drive, it's putting down 300 horsepower to the crank, probably around 280, 285 to the wheels, but honestly, it's more than enough. When that VTEC kicks in, it is no joke. And these cars feature the dual VTEC, so VTEC on the exhaust and also the camshaft, which is really cool. You hear it when it kicks in. I don't know if you heard it when I launched back there out of the rest area, but it's a fantastic, fantastic engine. The transmission in this one, I have the automatic. This is a 6-speed automatic. They also sold it in a 6-speed manual, which was much harder to come by, but those that have them really hold on to them. Interior that I got, I have I think this is the advanced package if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but they had the base TL, advanced, and then elite, or no, and then technology was after the advanced, so I think I'm right in the middle. This is the advanced. I have the gray leather, which I honestly kind of hate. I like it more than the black, but this car also comes with optional, I think it's called umber brown, which is just this most beautiful brown interior with brown accents, and it looks so good. It's probably the same leather, just dyed differently, but oh my goodness, I cannot overstate how much I love that interior. It would have been awesome to get a TL with that. Maybe someday, probably not. I'm thinking after this car, I'll probably get a TLX. If all goes well, it would be cool to get a TLX Type S with the 3-liter turbo, but I don't know, that's a fever dream for sure. So back to my thoughts on the car. This being my first time with an all-wheel drive car, I really didn't know what to expect. I was like, oh, it can't be that crazy different the way it drives compared to my front-wheel drive Accord, which had the J35, which was just a little bit smaller than this engine. Makes similar horsepower. This obviously makes more because it's bigger, but I thought it would be very similar driving this compared to that, but it's not. The throttle response, the exhaust note, everything is a little bit different, as well as the bias. So this super handling all-wheel drive system they use, it can send up to 70% of the power to the rear and 100% to either tire to help you maintain traction through corners, launching, driving through an icy patch on a curvy road, whatever it may be. This super handling all-wheel drive is amazing. I love it. It really shines through the twisties. These cars love being driven hard around corners, especially if you lower these and maybe put on some sway bars. These cars are incredible through turns. I cannot overstate that. I wouldn't compare it to something such as like a stock BMW. I think those, the 435i that I've driven in the past, that was owned by my father, that thing around corners was just like floating. It was like a magic carpet ride. That's what we always said driving around in it. Hop in the magic carpet. It's awesome. That car was much more luxury. I think although this car is called the Touring Luxury, that's what TL stands for, I really think it shines much more as a sporty car. The luxury amenities inside are not anything to write home about. It's nice. There's some like hard plastics, a few scratchy materials. Nothing on the dash is like scratchy and gross. It has a nice foam, and the black that they've put on top of the foam on the dash feels good. I could definitely see how maybe 10 years from now it'll start cracking and fading, and the styrofoam or whatever they use inside would show, and you can just picture it in your head being like yellow styrofoam type stuff in the dash that would turn brown with time. But I've been pretty good about keeping this car clean. I vacuum it at least bi-weekly. I was better than that for a while, but I've since moved farther away from the car wash, so I haven't been that on top of it. But this car is super easy to maintain. As far as maintenance goes, with any Honda or Acura product, especially the V6 engines, you gotta maintain the timing belt, water pump, tensioners, and get your transmission fluid flushed every now and then. The timing belt water pump was done roughly a year ago at 100,000 miles. I'm now at 114,000 miles, and that cost me, what was it, about $1,900 to get that done. And they also said that my fuel pump was bad, so that was replaced as well. I still don't know if that was actually true. At the time I had the money, so I was like, screw it, just fix everything. But looking back on it, I should have asked for proof that there was something wrong with it. Not that I don't trust them, but maybe it was a newer person that was looking at it and they weren't quite sure what they saw. But they said that my fuel pump was leaking. I don't know, whatever, it's been replaced. That's good for me. If I ever want to get more power out of this thing, I don't have to worry about the fuel pump crapping out on me because it's newer than almost everything else on here. So beyond that, I did notice at first with this car, there was a bit of a stutter. I found that the transmission fluid had not ever been flushed. And that's not something that has to be done all the time, but one thing you'll notice with these torque converter type vehicles, the shifts and the idle can be a little wonky, especially at low RPMs with a lot of Honda engines. I find that these engines are not happy in low RPMs. Like right now, I'm idling at 1200 RPMs through this little town. Idling this car is fine. It doesn't really enjoy being below 2500, I can tell. But at least the revs are staying put. For a while, like a month after I got the car, I noticed that it was very choosy. It didn't know which gear to be in when it was down low. It kept wanting to like upshift so that it could get into the higher RPMs where it's happier. And I was like, what is wrong with this thing? So I called around, And one dealership tried to sell me that I would need to buy a brand new torque converter, which was going to be like $2,000 or something ridiculous like that. And that was the part itself. I don't know if that included labor or not. And I was like, wow, I just spent $2,000 on this car. Now you want another $2,000 out of me? No, thank you. For paying 19, 20 grand for it, putting $2 grand in, I thought I was done. And then they tried to tell me, oh no, you're going to need to put another $2 grand in. I was not about that. So I called up my local Honda dealership, said, hey, can I get a transmission fluid flush? Can you guys do a 3x3 where they fill it, flush it, fill it, flush it, fill it, flush it? I did that, got the car back. We were able to reset the ECU as well, and the car drove amazing. It was great. I think by resetting the ECU, it let the car relearn my driving habits, so it knows where I like the power to come on. It knows how heavy my foot is. I honestly don't know how much goes into the ECU, how much like actual learning it does from my driving style, but honestly, this car does everything I need it to without problem. When I want the power, it's there. When I want to go slow, it understands. It's not trying to upshift or downshift, put me in a weird RPM range. No, it's fine. Perfectly comfortable chilling right now at 1200 RPMs. I'm able to pick up speed when the speed limit changes, the car's fine. And then when pulling onto the highway, I want to get up to 60, 65, 70 right away. The car does it. It's awesome. Could not ask for more. This car's been amazing for me. If any of you are looking for a second-hand all-wheel drive vehicle, I would highly recommend you look at any of Honda's offerings or Acura. I obviously love my TL by all the blabbing I'm doing about it. This car's been incredible, but I could also recommend any CRV, especially those 2.4 CRVs that you can get. Those are incredible. The new CRVs are awesome. The HRV I've heard very good things about. Acura MDX, Acura RDX, anything with the J37 or J35, the 3.5 and 3.7 V6 that Honda and Acura make, fantastic engines. I've owned a J30, J35, and this is now my third J-Series engine, the J37A4. Love this thing. It's amazing. Gas mileage is not its strong suit, but power is, fun is, smiles per gallon. So many smiles per gallon in this car. All right, that's probably been 10 minutes of rambling. I think I'm gonna sign off here. We'll have some more shots of the car, whatever you guys want to hear. Leave it down below if you want a list of modifications or anything, the wheels, springs, etc. I guess I can let you know I have some TSW Sebring wheels. They're 19 by 8.5, a little bit lighter weight than the stock wheels. I'm running Continental Extreme Contact something or other, all seasons. Love them. Paid $1,500 for them from Les Schwab. Probably way too much, but I've been liking them. They are getting a little bit worn down now. When I had the car lowered, I didn't get an alignment soon enough, it appears. So there's a bit of wear in the tires that is undue, but not a big deal. Get some new tires. No one's stressing. And I do have it lowered on some tan Street Advance coilovers. Loving it. The handling's good. I have it on a softer dampening setting right now. When I get it lowered again to summer height, which is roughly 1.5 inches lower than it is now, maybe 2 inches. When I get it lowered back down there, I'll stiffen it up a little bit just so I'm not scraping on everything. And I'm also looking at doing some underbody trays or something to protect some of the undercarriage, because a lot of the roads around where I live aren't the best. And I don't want to damage my girl. I like this thing. So overall, I've had this car for roughly 20,000 miles. Couldn't be happier. Only downsides are modifications for this car are not very cheap. The aftermarket community is not huge. There's not a whole lot of stuff. The only lip kits you can get for these anymore are A-spec, which are very hard to come by. They're not made anymore, so you're only going to get them secondhand. I don't know as far as ordering from Acura. I'm pretty sure they list everything as out of stock for the front lip, back lip, and the side skirts you can still get. Diffusers for this, rear and front diffusers you can get. People have made some aftermarket grills that are really cool. Maybe I'll throw in some pictures of those. And overall, I'll share some pictures from the forums I'm in for this car. Some of the things people do with these cars are incredible. They turn these into these beautiful, luxurious things. Some of them are a little too swagged out to be practical anymore, but those that are riding bags, I think, have a nice balance. Albeit they're paying $3,000 to $5,000 for these bags, but it's sick. You can be as low as you want on good roads, and then driving through a parking lot, you can bring it back up to get over speed bumps. I think that's the way to go if you were to get a car like this and want to modify the suspension at all. Bags are definitely where I would go if you have a few grand that you're sitting on. Otherwise, you can spend $600, $700, $800, get some tin, some True Heart, whatever you want type coilovers. Don't just get lowering springs. You'll regret it. You'll be busting bushings. You'll be busting tie rods. So don't do that. Make sure you have a shock and spring setup that are meant to be together. You'll thank me later. All right, that's all. That's enough rambling. Enjoy some more shots of this car. I love this thing. If you want to see more like this, let me know. However, this is a skateboarding channel, so there probably won't be a ton more videos like this. This was just something that I've been wanting to share. Any of my skateboard friends, forgive me for this, but you know I like cars. If you know me, you know I like cars. So I'll leave it at that. Have a nice day. God bless. Take care.